All right, so what does it mean when JD Vance gets asked about Alex Pretty's killing by ICE agents, and he claims he can't engage in hypotheticals about whether agents should face prosecution, calling it conjecture despite video evidence showing exactly what happened, when he refuses to apologize to Pretty's family, asking, for what? When confronted about labeling Pretty an assassin with ill intent?
Violated the law, of course, you should face consequences for violating the law, but I'm not going to engage in conjecture about the different permutations of how he might, or how this or that officer might have violated the law. Let's do the investigation. Let's figure out, did these officers have a reasonable fear of Alex Pretty given what happened? Did they engage in lawful conduct or unlawful conduct? Let's let the investigation determine those things.
When the same JD Vance, who constantly engages in conjecture about immigrants eating pets, about political opponents' motives, suddenly claims he can't possibly comment on a killing that's been documented on video? Then when asked about Bill Clinton potentially testifying about Epstein, Vance says he's open to it, but immediately pivots to claiming the 2007 DOJ investigation was bad because they were trying to protect a lot of their friends, then just moves past that bombshell admission with, whatever the explanation is. Yeah, that means we just watched Vice President accidentally reveal that he and Trump believe DOJ covered up Epstein crimes to protect powerful people, while simultaneously refusing to explain who those friends might be or why his own benefactor Peter Thiel was emailing Epstein about collapsing society for investment opportunities. And here's why this matters so much. Because Vance's Daily Mail interview reveals fundamental contradictions in Trump administration's Epstein strategy. They want to simultaneously claim Epstein files are nothing burger that we should move on from, while also suggesting there was massive DOJ cover-up in 2007 protecting unnamed powerful friends. They want to demand investigations and accountability when it serves their political interests, like going after Clinton, but claim they can't engage in conjecture when asked about their own administration's agents killing unarmed protester on video. And that double standard, that obvious hypocrisy, might be revealing that Vance knows something about why DOJ protected their friends in 2007, knows who those friends might include, knows why Trump and his circle are so desperate to control Epstein narrative while pretending it doesn't matter. Think about what that means. Vance's comment about DOJ protecting their friends in 2007 investigation is extraordinary admission from sitting vice president. He's claiming federal law enforcement deliberately ran bad investigation to shield powerful people from Epstein-related prosecution. That's alleging criminal conspiracy at highest levels of government. And then he immediately backs away from it with whatever the explanation is, as if he didn't just accuse DOJ of corrupt cover-up. That suggests Vance knows that line of inquiry is dangerous, leads to questions about who those protected friends might be, whether any of them are now in Trump's orbit, whether Peter Thiel, who funded Vance's political career, might be among people who benefited from incomplete 2007 investigation. But before we go any further, real quick, let's be honest. You can't really trust mainstream media anymore. That's why we built John Brown Show, to bring you real stories, real context, and no corporate spin. If you appreciate what we're doing here, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. All right, let's get back to the video. Now let's break down Vance's response on Alex Pretty, because his refusal to address documented killing reveals how Trump administration handles accountability for federal agents. When asked if agents who shot Pretty should face criminal prosecution if investigation determines they violated his rights, Vance says, "I think they should follow the law, but won't prejudge these guys." Claims everyone deserves presumption of innocence, says let's wait for investigation to determine if agents had reasonable fear or engaged in unlawful conduct. But here's the problem with that response. Alex Pretty's killing is on video. We know ICE agents fired approximately 10 rounds. We know 6 bullets struck Pretty's body while he was on the ground, already down, no longer presenting any possible threat. We know he was unarmed. We know ICE has provided conflicting accounts about whether anyone shouted gun or whether Pretty made threatening movements. This isn't a hypothetical situation requiring investigation to establish basic facts. The killing happened. It's documented. The question is whether Vance believes agents were justified in shooting unarmed man multiple times, including while he was already on the ground. And Vance claiming he can't engage in conjecture or hypotheticals about whether shooting was justified is ridiculous evasion. He engaged in immediate conjecture when he labeled Pretty an assassin with ill intent right after the killing. Didn't wait for investigation then. Didn't need evidence beyond ICE's initial claims before declaring Pretty was domestic terrorist who deserved what happened. But now when asked if agents might face prosecution if they violated Pretty's rights, suddenly Vance can't possibly comment without full investigation. Share this video with everyone you know because that double standard reveals Vance's actual position. He believes ICE agents should face no consequences regardless of what investigation finds. His refusal to even acknowledge possibility of wrongdoing, his demanding we wait for investigation that ICE is conducting into itself without independent oversight, his claim that asking about prosecution is somehow unfair hypothetical, all shows he's already decided agents acted appropriately and won't face accountability no matter what evidence emerges. And when asked if he plans to apologize to Pretty's family for calling him assassin, Vance's response is revealing. For what? He asks. As if labeling dead man as terrorist based on no evidence, as if contributing to narrative that justified his killing, as if smearing victim to protect agents, none of that warrants apology. That, for what? Reveals Vance genuinely believes Pretty deserved what happened, believes ICE was justified, believes no apology is owed because in his view, they killed dangerous criminal rather than unarmed protester. But the same JD Vance who can't engage in conjecture about whether ICE agents committed crime has no problem engaging in constant conjecture about everything else. He speculated about Haitian immigrants eating pets without evidence. He makes allegations about political opponents based on conspiracy theories. His entire political brand is built on conjecture and speculation presented as fact. So his sudden reluctance to comment on documented killing because he won't prejudge these guys is transparent attempt to shield federal agents from accountability while maintaining he's just following proper investigatory process. Now let's talk about what Vance said about Epstein because his comments might reveal more than he intended about Trump administration's cover-up strategy. When asked if Bill Clinton should testify before Congress about Epstein connections, Vance says he's open to it, and congressional Republicans should determine if Clinton adds anything to investigation. Then he pivots to attacking the 2007 DOJ investigation, calling it very bad investigation, where there are a lot of things that they didn't try to uncover, a lot of things they didn't try to look at. Then comes the bombshell admission. Vance says, I would say because they were trying to protect a lot of their friends, but whatever the explanation is. Stop right there. Sitting vice president just claimed 2007 DOJ investigation was deliberately incomplete because prosecutors were protecting their powerful friends from Epstein-related charges. That's alleging criminal conspiracy. That's claiming federal law enforcement corruptly shielded co-conspirators or enablers to protect politically connected people. Make sure you're subscribed to John Brown Show because then Vance immediately tries walking it back with whatever the explanation is, as if he didn't just make explosive allegation about DOJ corruption. That retreat suggests Vance realizes he said something dangerous, something that opens questions about who those protected friends might be, whether any of them might now be in Trump's circle, whether the incomplete 2007 investigation might have benefited people Trump wants protected today. And here's where it gets really interesting. The 2007 investigation that Vance is attacking, the one he claims protected powerful friends, happened under Bush administration. So Vance is alleging that Bush-era DOJ ran cover-up to protect Epstein's associates. But who were those associates? Who benefited from incomplete investigation? Well, we know from Epstein's Black Book and subsequent revelations that his circle included businessmen, politicians, academics, tech executives. And we know that Peter Thiel, JD Vance's political benefactor who funded his Senate campaign, was in contact with Epstein, was emailing him about topics including Brexit and economic collapse, creating investment opportunities. So when Vance says DOJ protected their friends in 2007, is Peter Thiel among those friends who benefited from incomplete investigation? Is that why Vance immediately backed away from that line of inquiry with whatever the explanation is? Because pursuing it might lead to questions about his own benefactor's relationship with Epstein, about why Thiel was communicating with convicted sex offender, about whether incomplete 2007 investigation helped people who are now in Trump's orbit. And Vance and Trump keep making these contradictory arguments about Epstein. On one hand, they say move on, it's nothing burger, files don't show anything significant, let's stop talking about it. On the other hand, they claim there was massive DOJ cover-up in 2007, that prosecutors protected powerful friends, that there's huge conspiracy to shield co-conspirators. So which is it? If it's nothing burger, why was there cover-up? If there was cover-up protecting powerful friends, doesn't that prove files are significant and we should keep investigating? The contradiction reveals their actual strategy. They want to minimize Epstein's story when it threatens Trump or his allies, claiming it's old news that doesn't matter, but they want to weaponize it against political opponents like Clinton, claiming there was cover-up and conspiracy that needs full investigation. And that selective application of concern about Epstein case shows they're not interested in actual accountability or truth, just in using Epstein as political weapon while protecting their own connections. Now let's address the media's role in all this, because their coverage of Epstein files has been problematic in ways that protect powerful people. When anchors and reporters emphasize that being in Epstein files doesn't mean you committed crimes, or that not everyone at Epstein's parties was involved in trafficking, they're providing cover for people who at minimum enabled and gave legitimacy to convicted sex offender. Yes, there are different levels of involvement. Yes, not everyone who had contact with Epstein participated in his crimes, but the rush to clarify that distinction, to protect reputations of powerful men who associated with Epstein even after his crimes were public, serves to minimize the broader network of enablement that allowed his trafficking to continue. And when Trump's lawyer Todd Blanche says, "It's not a crime to party with Mr. Epstein," that's revealing framing. These weren't parties in normal sense. These were gatherings organized by convicted sex offender, attended by powerful men, where according to survivors, abuse was occurring. So describing them as parties, as if this was just social networking among elites, minimizes what was actually happening and provides cover for people who should face questions about what they knew and when they knew it. The same issue with constantly reminding audiences that Peter Thiel didn't assault children because he's not interested in young girls. That defensive framing accepts premise that we need to protect Thiel's reputation first and foremost, rather than asking why he was emailing Epstein in 2015 about collapsing society for investment opportunities, why he maintained relationship with convicted offender, what that says about his judgment and values. The rush to defend the powerful to clarify they're not accused of worse crimes serves to shut down legitimate questions about the broader culture and network that enabled Epstein. So here's where this leaves us. Vance refusing to address Alex Pretty's killing on video, claiming he can't engage in hypotheticals despite constantly speculating about everything else, asking for what when pressed to apologize for smearing dead man as assassin. Then accidentally revealing that he and Trump believe 2007 DOJ investigation protected powerful friends, immediately walking it back because that line of inquiry might lead to questions about Peter Thiel and others in Trump's orbit who had Epstein connections, all while maintaining contradictory position that Epstein is both nothing burger we should move on from and massive cover-up conspiracy that needs full investigation, depending on which framing serves Trump's political interests. If you want to stay on top of stories like this, hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments. Should Vance be forced to explain who the friends were that DOJ protected in 2007? And should ICE agents face prosecution for killing Alex Pretty? Because honestly, this interview revealed Vance's entire strategy is bad faith deflection, refusing accountability when it threatens Trump's team while demanding it for political opponents. Share this with everyone because Vance's admission about DOJ protecting friends could be the thread that unravels Trump's entire Epstein cover-up if anyone bothers pulling it. Stay tuned.